Hey everybody, just want to do a quick video to kind of go over the process for LHC and the new evals. So I am logged in here into our test database. I'm using Aurora 175W. First thing you want to do is make sure that you've changed the property to the W property. So you come in here and update it from 0175 in this case to 175W. I already did that, so I'm good to go. You can see my current residents here. If someone's not showing up, you want to make sure you get them in Yardi Voyager. So speak to whoever needs to put them in Yardi Voyager, and then they'll show up as a current resident. I'm going to click on here. You can also do a search up top. I'm going to say that we're doing David here, and I'm going to do a new eval for David. So this part of it's the same as always. You go to charting, assessments. We're going to do a schedule new assessment form. And you'll see here for the assessment type, I'm going to choose begin performing now. We'll do it right now. The assessment type, the only one available is LHC resident eval, so I'm going to choose that. The assessment reason, like always, you choose a reason. I'm going to do a move-in one. The actual assessment date, I'll assume that it was done today. If you needed to, if you were entering it in for a day later or something, you can change it to like yesterday's date. We'll say that it was actually done today though. So far, so good. I'm going to hit save. It's going to take me to the actual LHC assessment. As you can see, it's one page, which is great. This is it, all of it. So this is kind of a mirror off of the paper version. So you can see it's got the first section here. It's asking us, do they walk independently? Do they need any help? I'll say they need one person assistance. My answers, as usual, are probably going to be wrong, but just to give you an idea, we'll say that they use a walker. If they need help with transfers, we'll say partial assistant. Weight bearing capacity, we'll say partial capability, not capacity, sorry. Showering, bathing assistance, we'll say one person. You can see here where there's got notes sections, you can drill in and add notes about it. So shower nights need help, right? So this is all informative stuff. It's not going to drive the points or anything like it used to. Dressing assistance, we can say full assist. Again, you can put notes in. Hygiene assistant, we'll say partial assist. Feeding assistance, we'll say cutting. You can put notes again for any of this stuff. We'll say independent here, we'll say independent there. If they don't need help with oxygen, you can put in an A for anything like that. We'll say they don't need any help. If they did, you can put more notes about it. Wound care, physicians or home care nurse orders, we'll say NA. Other medical care stuff, we'll say none apply. You can choose off of this, or if you need to, you can put more notes in. Cognitive behavioral status, we'll say NA, no big deal here. We will go ahead and choose an allergy. Uh, you can put notes about it, what happens if they have that or whatever. Past medical history, we'll just say NA. Medications, you would list out the medications here and put notes about it if you needed to. And then finally, you get to the plan of care service agreement plan recommendation. And this is where you choose basically what you're going to put them in. So if they're a la carte, you would check the a la carte button. If they're standard, you would check standard. You can put notes about it as well. Underneath that, there's the Medicare referral diagnosis. You can enter that in if you needed to. Well, I'm going to just say that they're a basic standard here. And I'm going to go up and I'm going to save this. You can see my section is greened out like this. So it looks like it's good to go. Everything was filled out. If it isn't green, it means you missed something. So you want to go through and make sure that you filled stuff out, filled out every section. If something's not applicable, you can just put an A in that section. So I'm going to go ahead now and hit complete. You can see how easy it is. You will not be able to make any changes. That's fine. I'm good with it. Everything looks good to me. I'm going to hit complete. Like I said, it grays out. Now it's got the service plan. There's no service plan because we're obviously not doing that. You can see the score breakdown. We have a score allocation for every different section. So the 3 here means more on the back end than it does to the user. So you don't have to worry about that. You'll just hit close here. And what's going to happen now is you'll see here, this is already showing as a scheduled one. We're going to go ahead and click approval of recommendations here. And we're actually going to approve this out. So what you can see here is if everything's good, if it's just a standard where like mine was, where the standard was put in, it's got the pricing and stuff already allocated, everything's all set. You just leave it as no exceptions and you can do send notification and this sends it out to Yardi Voyager for the billing. But if, for instance, they're a la carte and you want to put, a la carte and you want to put like $30 a day or whatever it's set up as, This will show when they go in and do the move in and apply all these recommendations, it'll show how much should actually be charged. Also, another way for an exception to be important is if right now what's going to show is I'm approving this as 418, but let's say that we did the evaluation yesterday and I'm not entering it in until a day later. You would want to put in that the start date should be 417 because that's going to make a big difference, obviously, because if they start it for today, it's only going to start the billing as of today and they're going to get one free day of service. So you want to make sure you put that in here. So we'll say on here that, you know, the person was actually evaled yesterday and they were starting their services yesterday. So we're going to put 417. Once you hit send notifications, it's going to say, are you sure? Sure. I'm going to hit yes there. And it's going to send that notification for us. You can see here it's saved. This is all grayed out. So you're basically all good in Yardi EHR. To kind of show you what it looks like in here, if I reload this page, you'll see the pending managed services was 0 a second ago. And now it's going to show as 1. So if I click in on there, you will see David. And now this is where the wellness coordinator or director, whoever's going to be doing this part of it, would start the move-in process. So you can see here from that screen, they can click on recommended services. This screen pops up that's going to show them what was recommended prior to doing anything. So they can get an idea of what was actually recommended. You can see here the resident. You can see it was a move-in assessment and that the daily standard care level was what was required or at least recommended in this situation. What they would do then at that point is click on manage services and they would start this process. So you can see here, it's got my recommendation. It says process should start on 417. So that's why it's important to do that because otherwise the effective date changes to 418. So they'd essentially get a free day out of this, right? So we can change that to 417 just by those notes. Cool. The rate type, you want to change to daily. Obviously, everything else looks good. You can make any changes if you need to on here. We hit next on here. Again, we want to change this to daily. This is the rent section, though, so you don't have to worry about the rent, but just to get in the habit of it. Right now, this is already set to daily, so that's perfect. From here, from the drop down, you can choose standard care, and it pre-fills the $68 for us. You can click on apply recommendation. It's going to say that it's already been applied because I chose it, but you could have clicked on apply recommendation up top as well. But you can see here I chose standard. They're going to click on next through other recurring charges. We hit preview. And that's that. Basically, you hit save throughout. And what's going to happen once you hit close is that once you get back to that resident, you will see that they have a level of care, standard care package of $68 a day starting on 417 or whenever it started. So this is the process start to finish. We'll make tweaks to it as you guys feel necessary, but other than that, the process is pretty built out in test. So we look forward to you guys testing it and getting us some feedback. Thanks.